A pastor's confessions. I'm a pastor, and I can't tell you where my congregation is, or where I speak the word, because it's confidential. That's why I have made this secret YouTube channel. Pastors are people too, and I have a lot of information from people from all around the world that have come to me for answers, and so they could lay their truth upon my soul, and they can somehow find forgiveness. But the truth is, I'm not God, and although I pray with them, I can't pray for them. What they have done is horrendous in the crimes that they have committed. They will have to go to God with. All I can do is be an ear between them and God, and go with them to God to show their remorse. In these stories that I have, you will be so shocked. I hear a lot. True crime, love confessions, obsession, pain, hurt. And I need to get these out of my body, out of my mind, and somewhere into the world. And I know that a lot of people like to hear about real stories. So let's get into the first story today. This family used to come see me for many, many years. The family is a large family. They're part of my congregation. Again, I have a huge congregation. Many, many families have been coming to see me for many years. I've been a pastor for 40 years. Yes. And I have to tell you, it's been great. But some of the families have surprised me. This one family came to see me when the husband and the wife were just getting married. They got married, and I actually did the ceremony. And then they had 5 children. I blessed all of their 5 children. They brought all of their children to church every Sunday. They were part of the church. They helped to form events. The husband and wife were loving professionals, and you would never, ever think, for the life of you, that their child would be a murderer. Yes, their last child, the 5th one, let's name him Glenn, just for name purposes, because, as you know, this is a confidential story. So Glenn, I saw him when he was in his mother's belly. Actually, the congregation prayed for his mother to get pregnant. And when she did, we were very happy. It was a blessing. This was going to be her last baby, and she wanted to make sure that the baby was healthy, well raised, and enmeshed in the church. Once she had the baby, we were happy for her. That baby, Glenn, became a part of the congregation. He used to come to the church and help me. Great guy. But sometimes great people do grave things. So he was a very hard-working man. He had a great business, awesome side business, and he had a lot of contracts as well. Once the pandemic hit, things changed for him. You see, before the pandemic, he had a lot of contracts. Now, I can't get into what type of work he does, because again, confidentiality. But he had a brand new contract and a whole bunch of things going on for him. And then he found the woman of his dreams. They got married. I performed that ceremony as well. Now, I could tell that his wife was more of a money grab type of woman. You see, this family comes from money, and the son was no different. this woman, she wasn't a gold digger. I wouldn't go that far to call her a gold digger because she seemed to be financially secure on her own. But she definitely did like the finer things in life, and she made sure that those finer things in life were hers. So when it was time for them to buy their first home together, Glenn suggested that they buy a starter home, something small, just a 2-bedroom home that they can pay off immediately and then live in it and fix it all up, make it like a dream home, and when they have their second child, move on to a new home. Now, let's call the wife Tammy. Tammy, she was not having that at all. She told her husband that her intention is to buy the biggest home possible and keep it in the family for many years to come. Now, of course, Glenn, in love, making money, and he thought to himself, why not? Why does he have to do it like how his parents did it? Start small and go big. Why not just go big and start the way you want, the way you feel you deserve it? If you can afford it, why not get it? That's what he thought. So they went around and they went from home to home until they found the perfect one on a corner lot. Gorgeous home, 6 bedrooms. It was only the 2 of them. Well, it was good enough. So some time passed and she found out that she was pregnant. Oh, Glenn was happy, the congregation was happy, everything was great until, boom, the world closed down. Yes, when the world closed down, Glenn lost his contracts. His business closed down. There was nothing he could do. And not only that, the people who contracted him, those businesses, did not only tell him that they had to put the contracts on hold, but they had to end the contracts completely because those businesses all fell. And they closed during the pandemic. It was a sad situation, as you can understand. Glenn had to rely on his family for his income. Then they started to get into arguments, Tammy and Glenn, because what happened was Glenn started to feel like Tammy was not putting in her share. Glenn started to feel like Tammy was not appreciating him. Glenn started to feel like Tammy was a gold digger. Every day she had a new complaint. You know, ordering stuff online from Amazon became a daily chore for her. Packages were coming in left and right. Every single time Glenn woke up, he would say to his wife, please don't order anything online. We don't need anything. We don't know how long the world is going to be closed down, and we don't even know where our next dollar is going to come from because we don't have any money coming in. Tammy wasn't working. She did have financial security, but that came from an inheritance that she got from a family member that died. And she was not going to dip into that for anything. She frequently told Glenn that that is her money, not their money. And her money will go to their children in the future. So of course Glenn didn't have a problem with that because he knew that his children would get a pretty penny in the future. She told him she was investing the money and that that money is safe and sound, which was true. He didn't really know the amount, and that didn't really bother him because he was also a man of his word and a man that did not want his wife to have to take care of him. They started to argue over petty things. If she wasn't doing the laundry, he would do the laundry, but he would do only his own laundry, not hers. They started to cook separately. They started to eat separately. They started to sleep in different rooms. Glenn actually started to enter and exit the house from a different entrance. Now, a 6-bedroom home, very spacious, has many entrances. He even parked near the guest house. Speaking of the guest house, after a couple of months, that's where he moved to, the guest house. Now, Tammy, she was pregnant and she was enjoying herself. She was enjoying ordering all types of things for the baby. And then one day, Glenn, he looked at their statement, their bank statement, and he couldn't believe how much money she spent on Amazon in 1 month. Thousands. And it broke his heart. And he went to her, he appealed to her, he said, Tammy, please stop spending this money. Once the world is opened back up again, honey, and we have money coming in the way we once did, we can go on vacations, our child will have everything, but please, let's save the money that we are spending right now. That's not our money. That's my parents' money, and I will have to pay that back. Please. And she said, listen, we're having a baby, and this baby deserves the best now. Not only in the future. I want the best crib, I want the best carriage, I want the best clothing, I want the best bathtub, I want the best bedroom. Nothing is too good for our child. Now, Glenn, he loved his wife, and he was very excited about the birth of his child. So he told her that this is something that he cannot deal with. And please, if she can just reconsider. Well, she did. She reconsidered. But she couldn't hold off on one deal. Yes, there was an Amazon special day coming up. And things were slashed. Prices were slashed. And she took advantage of it. She bought all types of things. When he got that bill, he walked into her house, well, the big house, and he said to her, "What is this?" And she said to him, "If you were such a husband, the man I thought that I married, we wouldn't have to watch the money that we are spending." And he said to her, "I'm not spending any money. You're the one spending all the money." And she looked at him and said, "Deal with it." She walked away and she said, "And if you can't deal with it, I will leave you. When the baby is born, I will take this house and I will find myself a man who will care for me the way I deserve it." Well, that was it. He grabbed her by the back of her hair as she was walking up the stairs. He pulled her down the 2 stairs that she walked up. He kicked her in her head, and he forgot that she was pregnant, and he was kicking her all over her body. Just kicking her and kicking her. He said that she tried to scream, but he kicked her so hard in her head that she automatically was knocked out. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't find a pulse. He went in the kitchen, made himself a drink, cried and cried, thought about shooting himself in the head, but decided that maybe this is a moment that he can recollect himself. Maybe this is a blessing from God. He didn't mean to kill her. He didn't mean to hurt her. He didn't feel like he was in the wrong. He felt like she was an unruly wife. A woman that was not of God, but was of the world. And he thought to himself, this is the perfect time to just get rid of her. So this man, Glenn, dismembered his wife. He chopped her up in pieces, and he had a lot of time to do it. You see, she didn't have a lot of family, and she used to go online a lot on Facebook and Instagram and post memes, but nobody really missed her. Nobody thought, why isn't she posting on Facebook or anything? They thought, oh, she's pregnant, she's probably sleeping a lot, you know. Now, his family, they were all very COVID conscious. So they didn't have family gatherings and they didn't go to each other's homes. They would just talk via text. And so they would text him and he would say, everything's great, everything's fine, everything's wonderful. And the parents were happy with that. Well, once he dismembered her, he put her in a freezer. He didn't know what to do with her. But with this home that they bought, the 6-bedroom home, they had a lot of land. And not only that, on the next lot, 100 acres over, there was more free land. Nobody was living there. So he decided that's where he was going to bury her. And he did. Then he contacted me. And he told me the story. I am supposed to keep everything confidential. But that was a crime. And just because the woman is spending money, it doesn't mean that she is a woman of the world. It just means that she is out of control when it comes to spending. A lot of people have addictions. A lot of people have problems. I don't know one person in this world that has never had a problem. But he looked at her as the devil's child. And through it all, even though she was 5 months pregnant, he didn't even think that he also killed his own seed, his own child. He was crying, Jimmy, because he knew what he did was wrong. But he also didn't feel like he was missing her. He felt like he had a new lease on life. He felt like he was in control once again. He did not have somebody chirping in his ear, yelling at him, putting him down. He did not want a wife that was a dripping faucet all the time. Drip, drip, drip. Yelling at him, cussing him, hollering, screaming, greedy, gold digger. That's not what he wanted. And so he felt like what he did was do himself a favor, but then he knew what he did was wrong. Well, he confessed it to me, and I told him that he needs to go and confess it to the police. He still hasn't. But since then, he hasn't been the same man. The world opened back up, and he didn't. He sold his home. The money that he made from his home, he gave it to his parents, and he moved into his parents' home. His parents have a huge, grand estate, and they hardly see him. But he drinks himself away, day after day, in his small, tiny apartment in his parents' home, and doesn't know what else to do with himself. Of course, his parents are worried about him. They think that he is in a Great Depression. People feel like there's something wrong. He's just been telling people that his wife left. Nobody has looked into it yet. And I don't know what to do. I have many stories like this. My congregation is not only bricks and mortar. I congregate online as well. I have a huge following, and so I know people from all around the world. I have more stories like this, unfortunately, and many of them have ended badly. I know it's only a matter of time before he either hurts himself or goes to jail, and I don't want him to hurt himself. So, I'm praying to God that somebody clues in soon. What would you do if you were his pastor and you were committed to confidentiality? What would you do if you couldn't say anything and it was burning you up inside? Please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. I really want to have the support from my viewers. And this is the first video, so thank you for clicking on this video and making me a part of your day. If you have a story and you need to get it off your chest, you're more than welcome to use this platform as your way to clear your head. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for subscribing. Have a blessed day.